world surrounded by franchises, reboots, and shared universes. An elite team of podcasters will risk body and soul to investigate the depths of intellectual properties, one multiverse, subgenre, and trend at a time. Who are we? We're the IP Squad.
Welcome back to the IP Squad and our ongoing investigation into films based on video games. I'm John Campbell, returning again because he's kind of our, this season, you're sort of our adventure correspondent.
Wow, I feel honored and a little sad. No, Brendan Jones is my name.
Brendan Jones is his name. Yeah, that was the beat.
You can call me Jones. Brendan Jones.
Yeah,
and I'll
stop
say this,
trying for the spinoff.
What I think is going to be interesting.
Yes.
When we discuss this movie,
is
you played all those games.
I
right?
played all four and the spinoff sidequel. Yes, big fan.
Okay,
big fan.
I do own on my PlayStation. I couldn't tell you which one of the. I mean, it's a Nate Drake one of them, and it does have this whole brother backstory in the game.
Ah, yes.
But I've only played about 3 or 4 hours of it. I enjoying it, but I've set it aside and I just haven't returned to it. So I have this tiny bit of knowledge, whereas you are an absolute fan.
Big time.
This is me coming to it, unlike the Tomb Raider movies that we did. When I played the hell out of some Tomb Raider. So this for me is almost like, what would the fan who has absolutely no connection to, or what would the viewer who has no connection to the video games think of this movie on its own merits?
That's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, is because you have some familiarity with the games, but it's more that this is a genre you're a fan of, though.
Oh yeah.
That's
I mean,
it's in the
all
realm of
pulp.
Indiana Jones and
exactly.
I mean, going to Alan Quartermain, ever the high
all
adventure movie, which I think I am always, and I think I mentioned this on the Tomb Raider movie. It's always the thing I go to every one of these movies just because I love them, and we get them so rarely. Do we get like a treasure hunt movie or something like that?
Dude, I saw Sahara in the theater.
Same here, and it was. And it had its it had a couple moments.
Who were the other 4 people that went to go see?
Yeah, not that one though. I would not. I would not quote your brother. I don't think we failed that movie. That movie, I mean, it was fine. I have not seen it since.
It was fine. It was
McConaughey
is jolly romp.
Perfectly
and again,
charming.
I wasn't familiar with the book, so I'm
no,
not
me
there
neither.
Going, Cussler would never have written that, or.
I have no idea, but that certainly didn't.
I don't know that.
I mean, I think it's an interesting thing, like with the Tomb Raider movies. I mean, I just watched, as of this year, Guy Ritchie's Fountain of Youth, with John Krasinski doing his Indiana Jones thing. It does feel like every once in a while they come around to, let's try it. And in general, people are like, I mean, even Indiana Jones underperformed.
That much is true. And
which is a real bummer
because that is something that was slept on.
We're both big Dial of Destiny defenders. It's
good Lord,
very good. And I think people really,
unfortunately, they all suffer in comparison to Raiders. They all do.
No question. I go in knowing that.
Lara Croft is a very different character, but in a similar vein, and she's modern day, and she's, of course, got the hotness factor and all that. And that's clever. The main problem here, or at least to me, is the fact that outside of I Miss My Brother, there is not much of a character here. You have an extremely likable actor. And in the game that I played, the dialogue is clever and so forth. And again, Nate is a likable guy. He's a
charming rogue. right? I mean, it cut from
a charming rogue, but there's just not much there. So what I found most entertaining in this movie was just the back and forth, some of which is made to feel like it's improv-y, and it's not. But the back and forth between two likable actors.
Yeah.
Those moments I liked a lot, and
I agree.
occasional moments of like, wow, look at that action sequence. That makes no sense in a physical realm where physics happens, but it's still cool to look at. And the
set pieces,
some of that stuff.
I think the two big set pieces in this movie fucking rule, just absolutely rule. The thing, hanging off the plane, off the back of the plane, and the thing with the helicopters carrying the pirate ships, I think are astounding, and was why I went back and saw it again in IMAX when it was out in theaters.
But I had to sit there going, like, again, like in Raiders, or not in Raiders, I'm just using that as like the Indiana Jones series.
Yeah.
Like, you get moments in there where, again, I can't shut off my brain. I've said this before.
You know what? I was watching this last night,
Temple of Doom,
knowing you were watching this, and thinking that you were thinking stuff like this.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I love Temple of Doom. I'm a defender of it.
I have some level of defense for every Indiana Jones movie, even Crystal Skull, which, you know.
But
there's great stuff in there. You can't write it off.
There's great stuff in there, but then there's also stuff where you're like, I know you guys feel the need to, ramp stuff up, but the whole we can escape a falling plane in an inflatable raft and raft down a, freaking snowy mountainside. I sit there going like, oh, that's too much, because again, suspension of disbelief. The whole thing about these ships being pulled up by helicopters is great, but those things are centuries old, and there's no fucking way that they hold together. They just would not. They would fall to pieces the second you tried to lift those things out into the air.
I knew exactly that was going to be a problem, and my response is, I don't care. It's fucking rad. It's rad as
that's always
hell.
Your response.
But it is. I mean, because but it's fun.
I know that doesn't work. Also, when you're climbing up,
but it looks great.
Hundreds of miles in the air.
Yeah.
That kind of like wind resistance, and you're literally climbing on this stuff. Climbing's fine if you have the great strength to be able to climb up that stuff.
Yeah.
But they actually jump forward.
Yeah.
They jump forward,
but I mean,
to grab onto things.
But isn't that
the second you let go of something, the wind would just take you away. You're gone.
Yes, but in response to that,
climbing up.
No, I agree. I mean, yes, but is that an actual fault of this movie? Isn't that just part of the buy-in to this genre, at least frequently? I mean, you bring it up. The Indiana Jones movies are ripe with it.
Physics in video games, especially the really well-made ones, and I can tell that the Uncharted series is a well-made series of games.
No question. That is the
they
top,
think about that
top
stuff. They think about this stuff. Now, maybe in like the Tomb Raider reboots, can you leap that far even if you're a very, very healthy woman? Mm-hmm. Probably not. And then be able to like grab on. Here's another thing with video games, and I'm glad that I get to address this on your IP squad, is that here's a thing where I think they all have something built in against them. There have been good video game movies, but the built-in thing that makes the reviewers tend to crap on them. Video games, especially these kinds of epic ones, they go on for hours and hours and hours.
Oh yes. Oh
Here the story is condensed into 2 hours maybe, and you are not involved.
Right.
You are passive.
It's a passive versus active medium.
Right, exactly. And you are made to believe you are Nathan Drake in those games, just like you are Lara Croft. You take all that stuff personally.
Yes.
None of them are so brilliantly written that they're like like great literature, or even like the pulps. They're written well enough to where
there's a couple that I know people would point to, but yes, in general I agree.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, it's an in general thing.
There is The Last of Us that is the same, and I would say that is
exactly
the closest to like I had a real emotional reaction to that was different than other video games for sure.
Yeah. Again, good writers. Bring them on.
Same creator as the
wrong with
Uncharted games, Neil Druckmann.
Yeah, but it's the whole thing is I don't think there's anything that replaces that as a cinematic experience.
No, it's
Indiana Jones is not the most complex character on film,
no,
but
no.
Indiana Jones has so much uniqueness and so much. I never imagined I'm Indiana Jones, even when I played the Great Circle, which is great. It's
Amazing.
really fun.
Amazing.
But I'm not convinced I'm him because he is a full fleshed out dude, and that's why I sit here going like Tom Holland's doing his best, and his best is very good.
He's great. That dude,
but,
hot take, that guy's a movie star.
Oh, absolutely. Though he is also cursed with baby face and baby voice, which he's a full grown man. Oh, by the way,
yeah.
Was that a cameo of the voice actor
Nolan North
in this movie
on the beach? 100%. That's
again. I don't know that.
That's
I don't
Nathan
know,
Drake,
but
and not
that
just
was
voice
so
actor, but
obviously it's like, you got hit with a car out of a plane.
Yeah, something like that happened to me once. Yeah,
and I was like, that has to be a cameo.
that is Nolan North, who not only is both the voice and the mocap performer for Nathan Drake. And he kind of looks like Nathan Drake.
Even the sex scene.
There's not a lot of sex scenes in the Uncharted franchise.
No.
It's like Indiana Jones. It's implied he gets it on a lot.
That's nice. And again, for fans, an Easter egg to go, look, they respect the original dude.
I will say, good. I saw this movie when it first opened with fellow IP squatters, Mike Ergoni and Michael Lissman, and they both applauded when Nolan North came on because they're big, video game. And so he's an A-list celebrity to them. And I know who he is. I didn't, but I was like, and he's
I'm
great.
Not being facetious.
Super
I think that's
dude.
awesome that that's a tip of the hat.
And the Last of Us show has put all the Last of Us voice actors. They've all showed up in there. I mean, that's that's a thing.
That's the thing. But and I saw people, the real fans can get just as nitpicky as me. I was seeing reviews going, Sully needs the mustache for the whole movie. He's got to have a mustache on. Where's Sully's mustache? And I was like, I don't know that I don't know him. Then I looked him up. It's like, oh yeah, he traditionally has a mustache. There you go.
That brings us to a very interesting thing about this movie, right? Which is this movie is not adapting any of the games. It is, in a sense,
it's weaving a bunch of the storylines together.
Yeah, but it's purposely set with talk about Tom Holland's babyface. This is younger than we've ever seen Nathan Drake portrayed, so this is meant to be an origin story of sorts, which the games don't really have. The games just start with 30-something Nathan Drake already being a kick-ass adventure.
But the game I'm playing, it does, like, the first section of it is them as kids and the running across the rooftops.
So then you were playing Uncharted 4: Thief's End.
That's it. That's right.
So they pulled the most from that in terms of that has some of his backstory.
Yeah, even like the crosses and all that stuff. Like, oh yeah, that was the overarching mystery. So it did feel like it was a straight adaptation of the last story they turned into his origin story. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, but it's not. I mean, the none of these action sequences are exactly. It's sort of, once again, broad strokes ideas.
Didn't finish the game.
But
I will.
You should. They're and I recommend playing all of them. I also really like the spin-off game about Chloe, the female main character of this. So that's great too.
Is she actually Australian in the game?
She's voiced by Claudia Black in the game, so she's British.
Oh,
yeah.
Claudia Black.
Yeah, and I think this actress actually did a good job of that sort of dangerous, exotic.
Can I just say, I hope that she is happy in her life and that she has a significant other. But if she's not, if she feels adrift, I'm here for marriage.
Okay.
Claudia.
Oh, Claudia Black. I thought you were talking about. I was like, because this woman's like 6 years younger.
Oh no,
than
not
me.
a fictional character.
No, I thought you meant the actress in this movie. Yeah,
who's very good. But no, age appropriate Claudia Black. Give me a call.
Yeah, I don't know what Claudia Black. Because I hadn't seen. Apparently, this woman was the woman in this movie plays Chloe. Is on Grey's Anatomy or was on Grey's Anatomy prior to this. So I would never, I think I saw the pilot.
One television program.
I think I saw the pilot when it aired back when I was, because I used to. Yeah, I have.
That you have not followed.
No, I would
Not
say
even the dramatic crossover with House. Joking. I don't think they ever
no,
did
I would have
crossover.
seen that because I was a House
I know you would
devotee.
have.
I loved House.
Mhm.
That
Just like you still, like Robin, love that episode of Diagnosis Murder where Mannix showed
that
up.
is still one of the greatest moments until I am 100% with your brother Robin Jones on that. Absolutely. That it wasn't just Mike Connors, that he was Joe Mannix was amazing. Anyway,
You mean Touch Connors, right?
I mean,
Touch
sorry, I
Connors?
mean Touch Connors. Touch to
Okay.
his friends. Mike Connors, touch to his friends. Anyway, let's talk about, yes, Uncharted. A movie that I will say, before we even get into this movie itself, because the games were so... I mean, I feel like the Uncharted games were kind of one of the first games that were like, holy shit, these really are movies. It is like playing a movie. And so
Yeah.
from game one, people were like, these should be movies, which is an interesting... we've talked about this on the show all through the season. I would say your point about the participatory versus passive experience of movies, right? And the participatory nature of games has been no surprise, the overarching theme of this season, right? Is that that's always going to be the thing that is going to stop you on some level of these things, right?
I think that there is something, obviously there's something comic book about a Lara Croft, and there's something obviously incredibly purposefully pulp-like with Indiana Jones, to where this kind of story, and Nate in general, his character, leaves me a little, not cold, but he's just, and he's an extremely intelligent, because I guess the family sat around studying old maps and shit for their whole lives.
They're just, I mean, that's all from the games, the stuff about, descendant of Sir Francis Drake, which sort of like puts them in history of adventuring and sort of stuff.
But this is kind of just a guy. Nate is kind of just like, like you said, charming rogue, but it's like, what if a street level thief guy who
that's kind of that was
origin
always
way he's pickpocketing people. It's like, what if he gets involved in a huge Indiana Jones adventure, and you're kind of like, well, what's his defining trait? And the defining trait really is just like, I miss my brother, is the whole thing. His whole thing.
I mean, I think that was the always the thing in the games, right? Is the idea that he is a thief, not an archaeologist. He is more roguish than Indiana Jones. He's actually more. He's kind of Han Solo and Indiana Jones
yet,
put
in
together.
order to position him against Sully, he has to be much more altruistic.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, then he's not even really that bad of a thief. Like, he only targeted the bitchy rich girl at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like so many action heroes, right? Where they're like thieves, but Robin Hoody in nature. But
by the end of this movie, Sully's heart grows 3 times.
Well, because and because getting him to where he is in the games, but the Sully in the games is pretty, in lockstep with Nathan. So this is doing the classic origin movie thing of let's start them at odds. And I do think a big thing I enjoyed about this movie is that Holland and Wahlberg do have some real good chemistry. I think that is a real, like, what propels me through a lot of the movie is that banter. I'm not here to say this is like a great movie, but
I really enjoyed that. I like all the people in the movie. It was well shot, and the
really
sequences
well,
are great. But
I think all the special effects, like all the green screen stuff, looks great. I think my attitude on the movie is, and I've said this about it maybe before, is in terms of in the realm of Indiana Jones knockoffs, I think this one's pretty good.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is a high quality production, and it's not painful to watch. I enjoyed it.
Also,
Antonio Banderas having a great time being a bad guy.
A great fucking time.
And I'm sitting there going, no complaints. I don't know, or maybe I do. Who's the actress who plays the main baddie with the sick ass dagger?
Oh yeah, with the curved knife.
The curved knife.
Tati Gabrielle. She's on the Last of Us TV show, so she actually did another Naughty Dog.
Oh. You need to be more specific when you say she did another Naughty Dog. You need to say production.
Another Naughty Dog adaptation, and But clearly, Neil Druckmann took a liking to her because she is the main voice and model for the next Naughty Dog game, which is called Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, which I'm very excited about. Which is
I saw
space
just a
adventure.
teaser for it, and
Yeah.
I'm down for it.
She's got a cool laser
To see
sword.
this thing open up, and it's like PlayStation Productions.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? What?
it's the same thing when we do the Sonic movies on here, and there's a Sega logo. You know, so you sit in a movie theater and it goes Sega. You know, and you're like, wow. The world we live in. But I will say, I do think it's an interesting point, like I said, across this season, which is, and you bring up the comic book thing, right? Is it sort of feels like Hollywood is like, well, comic books work. Why can't these? Like, there seems to be this attitude in Hollywood of like, because some of them hit, and this movie was successful. But I think there's this attitude of like, well, we should be able to jump from comic books to video games. That's the next frontier. And that's not working in the same way. And
no,
it hasn't taken off in the same, direction, or like to the level of success, I should say.
There's okay, but this is going to show my biases, so I can't say that this is any kind of like official.
Right. Yeah, Brendan. The opinions Brendan Jones is about to speak are his own and do not necessarily represent those of the Punch Up Entertainment Network.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I will say this: comics and superheroes. They have fantasy already built into them. So they are Tolkien-esque, as in it's a whole other world that you don't have to sit there going, oh, let me try to figure out how this fits into real world. And just by being superheroes, graphically, they are their own thing and they are iconic. And some of them have been around for almost a century. So that's a lot going in. That's already free gold to, if you're making a good superhero movie, or even if you make a mild medium one, you're still going to get some money from the diehard fans who are like, I've always wanted to see a movie with blah blah blah. But the video game thing is different. There are a few icons in video games, but their stories aren't deep. They're just not. Like Super Mario Brothers, when they did the animated one, the recent one, they realized, well, we're going to talk about the lore, but we also know the lore is just jibberty Mushroom Kingdom nonsense. So we're going to go slightly mocking, and there you go. That's the whole thing, and that works. But there's really no one that sits there going like, oh man, I am Solid Snake. I am just absorbed with Solid Snake, and a Solid Snake movie is all I've ever wanted to see. Well, you've seen like 25-hour Solid Snake movie when you played the fucking game. So, Metal Gear Solid. And the Halo TV series, it's like, did we need backstory?
Well, that's an interesting example, the Halo TV series that you bring up, because the thing there was that they were upset that they had to fill him in to be a TV character when he is pretty much purely a cipher in the game. So the hardcore fans were mad that he was a human person. Yeah, which is an interesting.
That his name is John.
Yeah,
and you're like, what?
And the second he took his helmet off, and people were like, "The fucking what?" But you're like,
I know.
Yeah, but my and I'm not a huge Halo guy, so maybe that's why I didn't have as extreme a reaction. My reaction was like, well, he's gotta be the main character of a TV show. Like you have to play
Metroid, I guess Samus, or however you pronounce it, she'll have to take her armor off. But at least the games broke that cherry where. Forgive the language, because there was a big uproar back in the early 90s when it's revealed that it's a blonde woman under that armor. That's what you've been playing the whole time, and people are like, what?
I knew someone in high school whose handle online was Samus as a man. I knew them. Wow. They weren't a friend of mine, but that was an opinion.
Yeah, you might want to.
Yeah. No, I will say that was indicative of this guy's whole thing. But
so
anyway,
basically, to your point, I think that no one out there is really sitting there waiting for, especially if you're not going to tell a new and original story. The thing about the Tomb Raider movies, even the Angelina Jolie ones, is that they aren't really retelling a specific game. This one is kind of
well,
blending some stuff together.
It's taking element. I mean, it's. I would say this one is doing more what comic book movies do in like, I'm going to take a little bit of this run, a little bit of that run, add in some of our own original stuff. I mean, I think once again, I think we've seen, doing this. This has been a very long season of the show. So I've seen at this point pretty much every approach you can take to adapting a video game, and I think everyone is. That's what I'm saying about Hollywood is still kind of waiting for like someone to really crack it. And so far, and here we go. Take your drink for the episode, folks. As John mentions, the most successful thing has been the Fallout show on Amazon in terms of like figuring out a way to do something that is a part of but independent of the video games, that feels of the flavor.
Agree.
Yeah, I think that to me is the most successful live action filmed video game adaptation, if you even want to call it.
Because that's a world where, and across the games, you're not playing the same character. That is a world that is the character,
right? And
you can tell all kinds of stories around it. But the important thing was they captured the look, the feel, the tone.
Yeah,
and it's there. I just started season 2 of Twisted Metal, having enjoyed the first season, and they're capturing look, feel, and tone.
That's another one because
again, those are not games where people go, "Oh my god," because it's all those crazy characters.
I think that's to the benefit of that show, right? Is that there's actually so little there on the surface that, like, aside from the aesthetics, you can basically tell whatever story you want.
And I probably played Twisted Metal all of 45 minutes once back when it was out.
Never one
and
of
I did
mine.
Appreciate the crazy graphics and
yeah.
Like, that's great. But I wasn't like, what is the backstory of Sweet Tooth?
That is a game sold on aesthetics, So I think, So anyway, turning to Uncharted, I think Uncharted does do some of what you're talking about, which is like when you go to when you play an Uncharted game, a lot of the things people love are the crazy action set pieces, the death-defying leaping from thing to thing, and they definitely capture all that action. I think Ruben Fleischer, who's the director of this, has always been a solid studio action director. He burst on the scene with Zombieland. Which is a slickly made, good-looking movie. And he did Venom, which is a slickly made, good-looking movie, the first one.
Yes.
I mean, he's a guy who no one's going to say he's like one of the greats, but I would say he in general is a pretty good crafter of populist entertainment. And I think similarly he brings that here.
There's a strong competence, and that's not it's downplaying
the movie. The other thing,
it's handsome.
I was gonna say the other thing. Hour 56, nice. That's good. This thing does not tip over into 2.5 hours. It never
felt like it dragged, though.
No.
I did think the sequence, and they're doing it on purpose, but the sequence where they're underground and literally there's 15 minutes of Mark Wahlberg going, "Tell me what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Although
what are you looking at?"
I will say it is one of the funnier.
And then weirdly he goes, "Hey, goat.
Yeah.
How do you like being a goat?
I will say this is
tell your mom hi for me."
It does feel like, was there any direction given to Mark Wahlberg? Because he is Mark Wahlberg all over this movie, right? I mean, it is.
Having not encountered Sully, or maybe briefly in the game that I was playing, I don't know his character, so I don't know if he's on or off target.
I mean, he's older in the game, so it's kind of hard too, right? Because I think the fan casting for the longest time was either Bryan Cranston or J.K. Simmons.
Right.
Yeah, and so you're like, I don't know, because the whole movie, and I think they were doing this obviously very purposely, is like, well, these are the beginnings of these characters that you meet later in the game, so they're trying to buy themselves sort of like, well, they are different. He doesn't have the mustache until the mid-credits scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say,
like, oh,
I will say
we win. The fans all raise their arms.
Well, and the mid-credit scene is basically the beginning of Uncharted 2.
There you go.
It sets up the mission that is in, because video games often are. Uncharted 2 is kind of the real, like, when it becomes Uncharted. Like Uncharted 1 is very. If you go back and
Uncharted.
Well, it's a little bit like when you go back and play like Mass Effect 1 or a lot of these games where you're like, oh, in retrospect, it's hard to go back to the first one after you played the sequels and they've really perfected the way these things work.
So in video games, between games, all the CG and whatever,
the graphics improved. They've also learned where the problems with the controls were in the first game, and so it's always sort of a thing where going back
to that first Mass Effect. I can't wait to get back in that little tracker thing and just drive over mountains looking for ore.
Yeah, boy, get ready to sit in an elevator, folks. It's that kind of thing. Very curious what Amazon's going to do with Mass Effect. We talked about that a little bit on the show before with Gorgoni.
I just don't know how they can spend the money. I can even see in Twisted Metal season 2 that they lowered the budget. I mean, not in a bad, embarrassing way, but it doesn't have the budget of the first season.
The thing about I was gonna say, this does have one of the funnier inclusions of product placement to me, which is the Papa John's. I thought was funny. They got their money, and
no, that was funny.
And I thought Wahlberg is very funny because I'm literally standing at Papa John's right now.
Yeah, I know. They're in
which is
Italy proper, but they happen to bust into a mall, first a rave joint, and then a mall, and then it's like I'm in a fucking Papa John's. Right?
Yeah,
it was good.
A
lot of the quips and stuff got no problem with, and again,
because these are
those
very charming
movie
star guys, really and they seem to be having. There's no doubt that was, I think, where Sony was like, "Oh man, I think we've got something here."
And I don't want. I mean, the actress playing Chloe.
Sophia Ali. I think she's very good.
Her own. She's good.
Because she's got the part to be she's the Catwoman, right? She's with them until she's not
ally, or am I only looking out for myself?
Right. Yeah, and that's very much what that character is like in the games. I would say she is probably the most like the character in the games of anyone.
She and Nate, do they end up together?
No.
Are they in love?
No, because there's another.
I'm a shipper.
There are shippers, but there's another that I assume will be in whatever sequel they make to this. There is another like.
You think there will be one?
I mean, they want one.
All right.
He's got to make.
Tom Holland will seem like an adult by that one.
Well, he's got to make six more Spider-Mans.
It is not his fault. He's not playing him. I mean, he is.
Yeah.
He is human heroing enough to like go, oh, geez.
Yeah.
But it is just the pitch of his voice.
Well,
I feel bad for the guy because he's a good actor, but he seems like he's 20 years old.
He's Michael J. Fox. He's very similar to Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
And that's been true. that comparison's been brought up. People love to draw him as Marty McFly.
By the way, can I ask you something? Because you probably did see this in the theater, and you probably followed all the press, right?
Sure, yeah.
How many reviewers made a pun about he's Peter Parkour?
Oh yeah.
Because that's one thing, is that Nathan is an amazing thief.
Yeah.
He's got the historical smarts.
Yeah.
But the action stuff, I think they did occasionally go, we just have to make this amazing. So this guy, and it is mostly him because, he's in that great Spider-Man shape. But
he's got a dance he's got a dance and gymnastics background. So I mean, he does the Spider-Man stuff. He can do and that is consistent with.
They even work in the joke where he goes like, "Oh man, I really can't dance."
Yeah, I'm not much of a dancer.
He goes, I don't dance. I'm not much of a dancer.
Funny because he's classically trained musical theater dancer. Yeah, and that's I mean, they talk about one of the things that got him the attention of Marvel was when he came in for the Spider-Man edge and he did a full backflip in the room.
Like the backflips into the room.
Yeah, and they're just like, oh shit, this kid moves like Spider-Man. But that's also consistent with there's a lot of parkour kind of action in the games. A lot of the action of the games is grab onto this thing, leap across to this thing, push this button at the right time to swing him around, So I mean,
I had gotten them out of the prison and I had gotten them to the cathedral where they're first doing their thing. That's where I left off. But they've got the crosses and they've got the map, and it's still the thing about, I don't know what this MacGuffin is. I can't even remember anymore. Well, they're trying to find the lost ships of Magellan that are full of gold.
Yeah.
But to do that, they first have to decipher a map, and it's got a thing.
I mean, it's all the tropes of this genre, right? It's a thing that leads you to another clue that leads you to a map you have to decipher.
You're going like, I was sitting there going, at what point will he have learned his lesson and misdirect his so-called ally, and then that happens. I was like, come on. Where he goes, oh gee, she left me, and well, at least I gave her the wrong directions. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he ends every line.
He's not quite as pubescent as you have given him a voice of. He does have a higher voice. He's not quite up here at squeaky voice Simpsons teen though.
Well, the movie starts with him going, Mr. Wilson.
I did think that did him no favors.
That did him no favors.
I do want to briefly touch on the fact that the point I was making earlier about the long, and I'll go through this quickly, history of trying to get this movie to the screen is the ultimate.
Oh yeah, I love the fact that Mark was supposed to be Nate.
That's the ultimate example where people go, it took so long to make this movie that Wahlberg went from being Nathan Drake to being his mentor. Like that's how, because and can I even imagine what it was going to be? David O. Russell directing at that point. I don't know what that movie would have looked like. Not a guy I immediately think of as an action filmmaker. I mean, even something like Three Kings, which is a war movie, isn't really like an action film in a traditional sense.
No.
So I do think that would have been very interesting, and he would have screamed at a lot of people. That's for goddamn sure. He's got to get you there, man. But like Neil Berger was going to direct at one point. Dan Trachtenberg, who does the Predator movies now, he was attached very like right up to this almost happening. Like in 2019, he was attached.
But I want him to keep doing the Predator movies.
Well, this would have been he did those
thing to come along.
Yes, I love Dan Trachtenberg. I also loved his first film, 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah. Surprisingly good.
Really very good. Travis Knight, who's the founder of Leica, was going to direct this at one point.
Wow.
I mean, it really bounced around a lot before it landed on Ruben Fleischer and this take. So it went through so many. It's one of those things where for the longest time it was just like, they're never gonna make an Uncharted. You would hear all the time this person attached, the amount of people who were attached to play Nathan Drake. The fan casting, of course, was always Nathan Fillion, because I think he's the fan casting for everything. He's such a beloved.
I will say that visually in the game, he does look Nathan Fillion-esque.
Yeah.
So I could see that casting. And of course, if you need a lovable rogue,
I mean, he just so easily fits that. I will say he and Stephen Lang did play Nate and Sully in a short film that I think Naughty Dog made as like a promotional thing.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So you can go see them. And Stephen Lang as Sully is also a pretty great choice.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But of course, by the time, this actually happened, he was older. They would have had to have done Uncharted 4 exactly, which is about like Nate at the end of his career, and they want to do something that we want to. I mean, as with a lot of things, which we always talk about, they want a guy who can do 5 of these.
Yeah,
and so they go Holland, because
but see, that's what I was talking about. You can't start franchises with dudes in their 40s. You need them to be able to do at least 4.
Well, it's an interesting thing, though, right? Because
without looking old.
It's an interesting thing, though, right? Because the character in the game is of a certain age, and so they actually make him younger in the interest of the movie franchise.
That's true.
This should be like a 35-year-old guy if you were doing them. It's going to be
3 to 4 years between movies, or even
also I will
at this
say,
point, right?
It's 3 years as of now. This is 2022, so it will be 3 years now. 4. I mean, it'll be 4 or 5 by the time they can actually get him done with Spider-Man. I will say though, Sony didn't look very far when they're just like, "Who's playing Spider-Man for us? Get that guy." And
it actually made me very happy. Even though if it was a toss-off line, every now and then they are like, oh, the audience will have this question, so let's answer it quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the very end, and the ship does finally drop, and then it does sink.
Mm-hmm.
But Nate's like, we'll just get a dive crew and go back there. And he goes, no, it's Portuguese
Philippines
property now.
Yeah, Philippines.
Yeah. It's like it belongs to Philippines now.
Yeah, and you see the Filipino, authorities or whatever coming out to investigate.
Because the other ship smacks into a mountain and shatters, and it also has gold in it. All I'm thinking is, all you got to do is go diving. You get that gold back.
And Yeah, I
And
mean,
you
I
know
will
exactly
say,
where it is too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think the script is amazing, but it's like, they put thought into it. It wasn't tossed off like. Once again, and I recognize the bar is low. I think this is maybe my favorite movie we've covered this season, simply because a lot of these are either very shoddily done for no money, or they're so tossed off, or they've gone through so many versions that they're completely sanded down to nothing. This is a fun, as the blank check guys would say, a gentleman's six. This is a totally watchable rainy Saturday.
It's a totally watch. Yes, it is totally watchable, and it is of a higher quality than most. Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched all the movies you've watched,
right.
but I assume you. I mean, you must have liked Sonic. I know you liked
that.
Series.
I like all the Sonic movies. I think each Sonic movie gets better than the one before it. I really like the third one in particular, which we'll get to in a couple weeks.
And did you like Super Mario Brothers, the second one,
the animated one? We actually didn't cover that one because we're only doing live action. To keep my sanity.
Yeah. And Sonic counts just because there are actors in it.
Yeah, because it's both, right? I mean, it's a still live action movie. We're not doing anything wholly animated because otherwise we'd have to watch 40 Pokemon movies and 20 Resident Evil movies. And
you say that like it's a bad thing. I don't understand.
This is already one of our longest seasons, and we've talked about that.
You've gotta catch them all.
We're also only doing theatrically released, no straight to video stuff. Although, hey. If you're not already subscribed to Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters, you can hear Brendan and I talk about all the Blood Rain movies.
Oh Jesus! You know what's weird is that
you forgot?
I forget those are based on a game.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's like I haven't forgotten those movies.
And you know what? I think the makers of the game are fine with you having. I thought too.
It's not okay. Anyway, yeah, I would say probably considering what you've been up against, I can definitely.
This is pretty fun. Like I said, I mean, I like I said, this is in the everything is running for second against the Indiana Jones franchise. That is the problem. And I remember that was the thing too about this as a franchise, right? Is the games are so openly influenced by the Indiana Jones movies that I think there is somewhat of a snake eating its tail thing here where you're like, you're making a movie based on a video game that is heavily inspired by a movie franchise, right? You're like,
I know. And I will say this in its credit.
Yeah.
Considering that.
Yeah.
Because that is exactly the path. Considering that, well done, guys.
Yeah.
This, again, is no classic. But at the same time, it doesn't feel, well... There are moments where it does feel very just, indie, rehashy stuff. And unfortunately, it's the stuff that will make anyone that's a fan of the adventure movies sit up and take notice, where there's puzzle solving and there's historical context and that kind of stuff should be the crack that gets you going in the movie. And sadly here, a lot of that does feel kind of like, oh, what if we put the two keys together? Stuff like that.
I will say,
a ladder to. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I will say that is a thing that.
And she goes, "Wait, infernum, isn't that Latin for hell?" And I'm sitting there going, "Wow, thanks for explaining it to the dummies in the audience."
But yeah, I mean that was one where I thought the same thing, but I also then immediately thought, yeah, but I guess they kind of had to, didn't they? Because that is not.
Sure.
There's a couple times in the movie where they do that. But I will say that is an interesting point that you bring up, which I think I don't know what it is that the Indiana Jones movies are doing better, but I will say that is always the thing that every Indiana Jones attempt falls apart at, which is the clue stuff. It's always the which is totally fine in this movie, but for some reason that's always the thing that I'm like, they just do that better in the indie movies. And I don't know what it is exactly.
There are smarter people writing them, generally speaking. I will say that they should have forced Kasdan to work with them for all of them.
Well, no question, yeah.
As brilliant as Spielberg and Lucas are, Kasdan's just one of the best writers, and they should have said, "Look, we'll come up with the story and the MacGuffin, but you got to help us with the script."
And I think I think the thing is that's very hard.
Even Indy never rises to Raiders ever again.
Well, I would
Raiders
disagree with you on
perfect
that.
Movie.
I'm a Last Crusade guy, but because I think
I love Last Crusade, but Raiders is a perfect
Last Crusade has more emotional impact for me, and that's what matters to me. The father stuff is such a big deal.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's the Connery stuff. But we're talking about
because it's Bond.
It's not just because it's one of the things I like is that he's very much not Bond, but we're not here to talk about Indiana Jones, although we kind of are. That's the thing but the thing about it is, I just also think, and this is like, people would be like, well, duh, John, but of course it's very hard. It's very hard to do a thing that it like this, and this is doing what Indiana Jones is doing, where it's like a little bit of real history mixed with a little bit of myth versus a little bit of our own stuff. It's very hard to make all that stuff seed together. I think the once again, the aforementioned Fountain of Youth, the Guy Ritchie movie, struggles with that too. And there's some good action sequences, and I didn't hate that. A lot of people really hated that movie. I thought it was okay, but it's definitely lesser.
I haven't seen it or even seen any response to it. I knew it existed.
Yeah, but I mean, it just, you just go like, oh, it's very hard to make that exciting. Not a history lesson. I'm looking at you, young Indiana Jones. But also like make it feel real enough. It's just, that's always the thing that I've found, that no movie has ever matched any of the Indiana Jones movies on the actual MacGuffin hunt stuff. And I think this movie does just fine, but you do kind of go, it feels very video gamey, right? It's like, I need both pieces of this key. We need to put them together, turn them this way, this direction. Then the place starts filling up with water, and it's only when we turn the key on the other one.
Sully going, you turn them both. Yeah,
it says right here. It says right here, you turn them clockwise
at the same time.
Yeah,
they do it, and then the darts fly out, and then they're like, oh yeah, really? And he's like going, I don't know, man.
It was a 50-50 shot. I had to pick one or the other. Yeah, I gotta know.
Yeah.
Hey, man. And once again, Wahlberg, and who knows how much is improvised or whatever, but him going, I mean, you expect me? I can't even read this without my glasses.
Yeah.
I'm the old man in this movie.
Mother for me.
I will say, having seen, and I'm a devotee. I go to most of Mr. Wahlberg's movies. I will say this was a rare one where, even though he doesn't like look it in particularly, he is playing the older guy, which I was kind of surprised he was willing to do. Because I would say in most of his movies, I'm like,
I think
he's mostly
has
like
that kind of ego where he wants to be the eternal badass young guy.
What are you talking about? I'm 35. That's crazy. Like, you talk, where you just go like, I always go back to his first Transformers movie. He has an 18-year-old daughter in it. And he talks about, I don't want you to make the same mistake I did. Will you become a father on prom night? I'm like, oh, sir, you are very much old enough to have an 18-year-old daughter without that being a high school pregnancy. I don't know why you think you're going to convince me you're like in your early 30s. This is crazy. No, what are you talking about? I'm just a young man. I mean, he looks great. I will say, he doesn't look old per se, but it isn't.
I know that looks like a vehicle, but it's a robot in disguise.
Yeah. I think I found a Transformer. That was it. Everybody, when that trailer came out, was obsessed with I think I found a Transformer. It's my new best pal, Optimus Prime. Say hi to your mother for me. This is our second go-around with Wahlberg on the show. And because we did the Max Payne movie, which is awful. Mm-hmm. And that, I will say, there was a discussion beforehand with Gergoni, who did that episode, about, okay, I need a code word to tell you to stop doing Wahlberg. It's a very fun voice to do. And he's one of those, Wahlberg is a movie star in that way, where it's like, you pay him to be Mark Wahlberg in your movie. I mean, pretty much. He does have some range.
He has some range. He can be very serious.
Yeah. He
can be the lovable Boston douche.
There's a no. So his interviews are always exactly what you think they are. But he's like, sometimes I make serious movies, then sometimes I got to make ones for my boys back in Boston. They like when I do those. They like I'm sure they loved Uncharted. That's like that's one for the hometown boys. They like when I punch people and kick ass in movies.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God. I remember when we used to hate crime against Asians.
All right, Jesus. People bring that up. Must everyone be judged by a horrific thing they did when they were 15, though? I'm not taking away from
people learn from their mistakes, but you can't pretend it didn't happen.
It didn't happen, but the people who are like, how is this guy in movies when he did this thing? You're like, should he be in jail forever for that? I'm not excusing what he did. I want that noted. But
wow,
I don't
know. Why don't you go give it a shot and see how it works?
Oh, it won't. It won't. Yeah, I just think it's an interesting thing.
I love him. I want to be just like him. what minority can I attack?
I'm just saying,
around my neighborhood.
It's the same thing. People love to bring up the Tim Allen cocaine arrest, right? And you're like,
sure.
yeah, I mean, that was awful. I don't know what to tell you, but like, what do you want me to do with that information?
Just not forget it.
No, I don't forget it, but I just think it's
people contain multitudes. You
That's
can
my
admire
point.
Them and still go, oh, but damn.
Yes, I agree, but he didn't do that yesterday. He did it when he was a shitty teenager on the streets of Boston. That's my only point.
He was a shitty teenager.
Yeah, if he did that. If he did that again, or there was some kind of continued history, I would be more concerned. That's all my point.
Mm-hmm.
All my point is, yeah, I agree with you. We're saying the same thing, which people contain multitudes, and I think that needs to be reminded. The internet is very quick to take someone's worst moment and be like, that is who they are at their core.
Yeah, people still mock me for that farting incident in 3rd grade.
What did you think of we mentioned
of my farting incident? It was embarrassing.
Antonio Banderas having a blast, also just being handsome and charming as he always is. Does he not have one of the greatest voices in the history of cinema?
He has one of the greatest voices. He has undeniable presence, even though because he had been out of movies for a bit. I mean, on his own.
More in American movies. He was still doing stuff with Almodovar and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's a thing where he shows back up, and even though he is everything you want, he is like the age hit, and I was like, oh wow, you are older.
He's older, but
he's
still,
great. And they take him out in a very.
This is what I was going to say. What did you think of this? Because I think
white. Not Great White. Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, it is a great turn that I did not see coming when I saw it the first time. Very much, which is. I will say the PG-13 does show, though, on that throat slashing, which is the least bloody cutting of someone's throat in the history of film.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of blood on there. I'm like, oh, well, apparently he was already in trouble because clearly he was lacking blood in his body.
Clearly there was
There was
no
if anything,
blood
she
going
did him a
through those
favor.
veins.
But yeah, when he gets his big Bond villain speech and then he just gets his throat cut, it is like, oh, shit. This is a different movie than I thought.
Just because it's him... and I know there's plenty of movie to go. I did sit there going like, "Oh, is this part of the plan? Is that a setup?"
Oh, that would be in it.
No,
Yeah, like no, it's just that, and it really solidifies how dangerous this villain Joe Braddock is.
Yeah.
That and you get that moment. I like the moment also between her and Sully when he's trying to steal the cross.
It's the new guy in there, and everyone he meets, including villains, are going, do you even know who that guy is? I know who he is. You shouldn't trust that guy.
Right.
And they are also, of course, completely untrustworthy. But they're still saying, like, you got to watch yourself around Sully. But there was also the tropey thing of, like, yeah, we used to be a thing. And it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey. We used to be together. It's crazy. Yeah. Can you believe it?
Say hello to your mother for me.
Yeah. What's great is we're totally the same age. That's what's great.
We're totally same age.
And we were just like, oh my god, we actually went to high school together. We were high school sweethearts.
I remember prom night. It was the most magical.
There was another one. His most recent movie that he did with Halle Berry that was on Netflix, which is like totally fine. Once again, it's a Gentleman's Six. But in that,
that's the whole. Yeah, I saw the trailer looked pretty good.
It's totally fun. It's very much of the same quality as this. This movie's a little better, but in that, Lorraine Bracco is his mom, and I'm like, I don't think the math on that works completely. She's a little bit older than him, but she would have. I mean, let's say she would have had him in like middle school. I think I looked it up. But once again, it's that thing. Yeah, it's that thing where you're like, yeah, Mark, you're not. Yeah, because he's like, I'm willing to go. I'm 40. I'm now 40. I'm a little bit older.
Yeah,
I'm
40.
He's aging Christ. 5 years for every 15. I think is the thing.
God bless his little heart.
I mean, once again, he looks better than I will ever look in my entire life. I'm not saying the guy looks like an old man, but I
will say, whenever he lifts his eyebrows, that is quite a. Those are rows worthy of planting corn in.
Sure, but look, the guy puts
he looks
the work
a little
in.
weathered.
His well, he always looked a little weathered. It's that because he's from
That's kinda
Southie.
true.
He's from Southie. That's what Southie does to
Look,
you.
you travel the world with a funky bunch,
Yeah.
and see if you don't end up looking. A
You
little
see how
weathered.
much a funky bunch ages you. That's all I'm saying. We had good vibrations though. All right.
Marky Mark sure do like to shoot them hoops.
I will
Anyway,
say
let's keep going.
an interesting thing that Holland said in retrospect about this movie is that he's disappointed with his performance in it, which I don't agree with him. So, but he said, I think I focused too much on how I looked in the movie and not enough on like performing.
That would be a valid point from his point of view, obviously. But when I'm watching it, it doesn't. I don't put the fault on him.
No,
there's not much to work with.
I
mean,
don't.
again, emotionally or whatever, he's solid and he's charming when he needs to be. And
I can
when
definitely
he
see he put the work in. Those shirtless workout scenes, I'm like, God, he's even more jacked than he is as Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's more worried about how he looks, and that's the deal.
And when you're hanging out with Mark Wahlberg, you're probably doing those 4 a.m., arm curls or whatever, his whole thing about like,
Yeah.
I get up at 4 a.m., I do 2 hours of whatever. It's like, okay, man, I get it. Jesus Christ. I did also enjoy The Scotsman. I think The Scotsman is funny in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not funny. It's just the way they spin it.
I'm sorry, the scenes
our
with him
American, our completely American Nate Drake going like, "I'm sorry, I don't understand a word you're saying."
Yeah, and just the whole idea that he keeps threatening him, and that he never, I realize he never does get a name. He is only ever the Scotsman.
Yeah, she, since he works for her, she literally goes, "Okay, Scott."
Yeah,
and she calls him Scott.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the case of maybe his name is Scott, much like Montgomery Scott. I mean, they worked hard. Gene Roddenberry, man, he really exerted a lot of. What should be the Scottish guy's name? I don't know, Montgomery Scott.
That works.
Yeah, boom, done and done, man. I will say the sequence with the plane with the cargo hanging out is the most like the game to me. In terms of that, actually did feel like it's not actually from any of the games, but it does have the way that Nathan is hanging off of it, crawling up the netting of it from box to box, and then it's very Indiana Jones too, right? The idea of you get all the way back into the plane only to be hit by the car coming out of the plane, right?
I am interested. I would be interested to know if in the original script, if that sequence just all happens where it's supposed to happen, if it was always meant to be like not a bookend. It's not a bookend, but something that you come back to because it's a tease of. Don't worry, folks. This stuff is gonna happen.
100%.
Just not right now.
I 100% agree with you. It really feels like an editing decision where a studio is worried people are it's gonna take too long to get to the action.
It's like what's with these kids in an orphanage.
Yeah, I do feel like that's we talk about this with the monster movies or horror movies do this, action movies do this, where it's like we got to hit the ground running. We need a big kill at the start, or we need an action sequence at the start. If we don't, the idea is people are going to be like, "Well, fuck it, I'm leaving the theater then, man. I want my money back." There's definitely it not to the overall detriment of the movie, but you can feel studio fingerprints on this movie for sure.
Yeah, but as you say, it doesn't feel like they destroyed it or
no. There's just a couple things where you're like, it's here and there that I'm like, the Infernum thing. That there's a couple of 80-yard lines where I'm like, I bet that was after the fact. That was a studio note.
Oh yeah, I noticed the same.
There's a couple. There's just, and I think if you watch enough movies and you know how movies are put together, I noticed that in a lot of studio stuff where you can just go like, oh, somebody was like, a test screening was confused about this. Can you put in a line?
That's so sad.
The one I'm thinking of when he's on the
dummies out there that just couldn't catch this.
And to be fair, the thing about that is, and I've heard this said, and it's true, studios always assume people are dumber than they are, right? And they set up those screenings in a way, and I know I've heard filmmakers complain about this, where when they ask the questions, they do, was anyone confused about this? And they probably weren't, but once you say, were you confused about this scene, you're leading them to go, Well, now that you mention it, I kind of was confused why he was there, and so they're like, "Oh, better fucking change that." Then
Okay,
it's like,
we can drop a line in there.
yeah, there's the scene where he looks down in the ship and he goes gunpowder. That I thought,
oh man, that
no
was
one, you can't even
Lindsay.
see him, but it is just like, oh yeah, they didn't, even though I do think it's really cool when he shoots a helicopter with an old cannon though.
I mean, yeah, that's cool in concept, but let's talk about, is that gunpowder still viable?
For fuck's
after
sake, man.
centuries? I think
God
about
damn
stuff.
it, Brandon. But to the detriment of fun sometimes. Fun.
What makes things fun for me is when they thought it all out.
I mean, they thought it out. It's just they're going like,
there could be some weird explanation they come up with why this would work.
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
and then I would be great with that.
I just think
I mean,
it's very hard to make things with that level of attention to detail. That's pretty extreme.
Find that to be so.
I find that to be extremely so, because we watch a lot of movies and this comes up a lot, so it seems like it's a frequent problem for you.
For me, it is, because even when I'm writing something that's brief and period based and not so realistic, I looked up everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a high standard to
what
set.
Thermite bombs can and can't do because of a script I'm writing right now, and I refuse to put it out there if it's just BS.
That's fine.
At the same time, I'm writing something that has a talking brain in it. So what are you gonna do?
I think there is that, right? I mean, it's all. I mean, I think it's to each writer and filmmaker, right? Is that how much what weight you put on it is like, well, we did it most of the way here, you know. Or with this, but then you go like, yeah, but you know, for the purposes of this scene, one of the things I think is,
I'm saying Indy is very lucky in Raiders that sub apparently never submerged, because he rides the top of a sub all the way into.
I'm just saying, like, it is particularly in this genre is ripe with impossibilities.
Of course.
So it's not unique to this movie. So
if the movie's genius, like a Raiders, then it I let it go. I let it go.
I mean, I also have that to some extent. I am much harsher on stuff where if the big strokes of the movie aren't working, then I've done, if you listen to Meet the Monsters or even on this show sometimes, there are times when, like, had I been more engaged in the movie, I probably would not have noticed the following things. And I wish I could remember. There's a story I heard a filmmaker say once, and probably a couple people have said this, but the idea about somebody brought up some sort of lapse in logic at a screening, and they just went, if they're noticing that, we're already in trouble.
See, that's exactly it.
That's the thing. Is like if they're looking for that, then we've failed on other levels of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's sort of a thing too. Is like you can blow past stuff where you're like, you know, it's the thing about the, you know, how did that T-Rex get into that building without anybody noticing in Jurassic Park? And I'm like, well, I didn't think about that till I'd seen the movie 12 times. Because it's just exciting and it just works.
It's just exciting, and he roars, and then the banner falls.
Well, it's the thing where the guy asked him where'd the T-Rex come from, and Spielberg said top of frame. Because it is just like, they're not gonna care. They're gonna be so wrapped up in this that they're not gonna care where it came from or how it
takes a very smart and capable storyteller, filmmaker, to realize the places where you can get away with that.
You can't. I mean, the Spielberg is such an unfair bar to set, right? That guy just...
that's not even fair.
Even in the stuff of his that doesn't work, there are moments where you're like, oh, that's still some of the best filmmaking I've ever seen. Or there's just genius decisions where you're like, wow, okay. You know, it's... you know, and this movie is, unfortunately, I just think you set out to make one of these movies, and you just have to accept, like, well, we're never going to match Indy, and it's unfortunate. Doesn't mean you don't try, but it really is just this has come up on the episodes you've been on, because the Tomb Raider ones as well, is there are very few other, like, genres, or in this case more subgenres, that are just dominated by a singular thing in this way. And it's not even a thing that thing invented, of course, but it just perfected it. It took all these elements of these things that existed, and it just found a way to turn them into these machines for entertainment.
Indie so much, and is that it is a labor of love by these dudes recreating something from their childhood. However, there's not a single film serial, action adventure serial of the 30s or 40s that's anywhere near as good as something that's meant to be a tribute. And I love the fact, that they made an homage that is 80 times better than any Perils of Pauline or Jungle Jim or any of those things. And you're like, holy hell, they saw what worked. They knew they have tools to make it better, and as storytellers are just consummate. So they literally just go in going boom. And same with Star Wars. It's like, I love Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon mainly in the comic strips, but you look at those serials, and to think that that was what George Lucas was attempting, and you go, oh, but he made something 80,000 times better than any of the Buster Crabbe stuff. So I love that.
It's
but now it's I would say not impossible, but show me someone that's going to say I was inspired by Raiders and then make something that's a million times better. I don't know.
No, because I also think the things that have really built on Raiders have gone in different directions. They're taking
they have to. They can't just make it like a great archaeologist.
Yeah, and that's sort of the thing. But I'm talking about like movies that have taken the feel of Raiders, the approach to action of Raiders. I feel like that's been the stuff I can see more successfully. The like, oh, this is an Indiana Jonesy kind of moment. It's not an Indiana Jonesy kind of film necessarily. I feel like has been more successful. It really is. As soon as you get, this movie literally has their take on the map. You've got the much more CGI of the plane going across and landing.
Yeah,
and you're just
they did that. Yeah, they full on went there. It's like they're winking.
They're winking, but it's also a thing where it's like it's almost just like a little bit like, well, fuck, I don't know how else to do it. That's just the language of how this is done. Shit, how can we, like it just so just do it. Let's just do it. Like it just feels like that sort of thing. And I think that's the other guy who always comes to mind on that stuff too is Tarantino, where I remember seeking out a lot of movies he would mention and going, this isn't very good, Quentin. You've made the better version of this. Like, you watch Jackie Brown, and he talks about all those blaxploitation movies, and you go back and watch those, and you go, oh, none of these are written half as well as Jackie Brown, not even remotely.
No, of course not.
Yeah, so you're just like, oh, all this stuff that's inspired. It's always an interesting thing, right? When you see inspiration, when you track something back to the source, it's like, yeah, but and sometimes, especially in those, it's like, well, things were made quickly and out of desperation, and you're honing and crafting and doing it to the highest level. It's fascinating. But yeah, I think, like I said, I think this movie, and I get why, and I said, I saw this with Gorgoni and Listman, whose reaction was like, hey, that's probably about as good as an Uncharted movie, as we could expect. Like, the idea just being like, they didn't shit on it, it didn't fall apart, and it was totally watchable and fun. The thing
I would say for fans of the games, I bet the secret is the next one.
Sure.
Because as you said, this is an origin thing. So the real test would be, all right, give us classic Nate Drake Uncharted stuff that we've played or is similar. That would be where I think it all shakes out, whether they go, yeah, they did it. That's Uncharted.
It's an interesting thing, right? Because I like you said, to that point too, is I feel like you're just doomed to some extent because you'll just never recreate what it is to play. So you almost are just chasing people. Like, my dad loved this movie because it's just, he has no idea about the games. And so he's just like, hey, that was fun, like that sort of thing, right? It's just like, it's a fun, solid popcorn movie to people.
Total popcorn.
You have to,
calories.
Yeah, you have to. It's almost like you have to chase that because you're never going to satisfy the video game people. Be as faithful as you can, but know that you're kind of, you're at a disadvantage with the video game people to some extent. Is an interesting. So it's a tricky thing. I mean, am I coming down to on this show? I would think people have listened to me a lot. Should they be adapting video games into movies? Most of the time. No, it doesn't really work. Like, as much as I enjoyed this movie,
Agreed.
It doesn't. I don't even think about it as much in connection to the games. Really, I just go like, that's a fun action movie that is of a similar vibe to those games. But I don't think about, man. There are moments in this movie where I'm like, similar to the 2018 Tomb Raider, where I'm like, wow, that really felt like a moment from the game. There are moments in this movie like that, but
if that is an accomplishment, that's also kind of a weak accomplishment. But I'll just say, the games are the movies, and you've played the movie.
Yeah.
So unless you're going completely original, and then but you're also taking away the core thing, which is, I get no say in whether he makes that jump.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I do think
what's the freaking point?
It's looking at Naughty Dog's other big successful game, The Last of Us, which has become obviously a very successful TV show. That game, though, is so much more of a singular narrative, and they really are faithfully adapting that 3-act structure. So, I mean, when the Last of Us feels even more like a movie, and that I know there are video game players who don't like those games because they don't get to make decisions in them. You really are just playing out a story. It only can go one way.
Yeah.
I love that about them because I love that story. So, but I mean, it's a tough thing. We've had some decent video game stuff, a couple of very good video game things, but it still feels like they don't fully have it. They haven't fully gained the confidence of it in the way that and I don't know that ever really will. Maybe I'm proven wrong, but I think there's always going to be a hurdle to get over that the comic book stuff doesn't have.
That's right.
So
I agree, and Fallout is still the best example of one that totally works.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's the whole TV series.
I do think
so. It doesn't have the burdens of trying to do a 2-hour.
It does seem like in general TV has been more successful in it between things like Last of Us, Fallout, or even Twisted Metal. And certainly Amazon is all in on it because they're also doing God of War now, and they're doing Mass Effect. And
that Centipede TV show looks really good.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. What's that Centipede's backstory? It's gonna break your heart. I got to tell you, when you get into what his deal is,
you're gonna feel terrible about breaking them into little pieces as he comes down that maze.
Let's talk about how this did do at the box office.
How did it do?
Fairly well. It made $407 million on a, let's see, how much did it cost? $120 million budget. So actually, I will say this is a damn good looking $120 million movie, which is a lot of money, but it's not, $200 million that Marvel spends. So they wisely didn't spend, they didn't bet the studio on this thing. So, pulling in 407.
I mean,
no, I mean,
the two set pieces are big. But,
yes, there are two gigantic set pieces, and so they put a lot of the budget into those, and I think smartly so. Really, we're like, let's try to just nail these two big moments, and I think those do land. So at $407 million coming out in 2022, which of course is post peak pandemic and is still a weird place for the box office. Where do you think that landed it in the top 200 there, Brendan?
I'm gonna go 65.
Oh wow. 13th.
13th.
Because keep in mind,
that was a big year though.
Well, it was and it wasn't, right? This was the first year that we had a couple of big ones because top grossing movie of the year, not my thing, and I've said this many a time on the show. Avatar: The Way of Water made $2.3 billion.
Yeah.
I did see the second movie also twice in the theater, Top Gun Maverick, $1.4 billion. Jurassic World Dominion.
Well, I guess I'm
$1 billion.
Underestimating the Holland army that no doubt went to see it.
We definitely
and I know
went to
Zendaya went to see it at least 62 times.
Yeah, that's true. Most of that they do say came specifically from purchase by Zendaya. Okay. Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness was 4th, and Minions: The Rise of Gru was 5th. That year.
Jesus. Well, you got to have your kids movies.
I mean, that is a license to print money, that Despicable Me Minions franchise, I got to say.
Still going.
It's still going. It's crazy.
I don't even understand.
I saw the first one way back when it came out, and that's it. I've only ever seen the first one.
Yeah, well, you were 7, and you loved it.
That's how long ago it was. No, I was an adult who paid to see Despicable Me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's look at some highs and lows before we get out of here.
High and lowest.
Yeah, here we go.
Great comic strip.
All right, this comes to us from Lima Jays. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going with my best there. Who titles their review "Unexpected but Amazing!" ! I was a bit skeptical of the cast at first, but still walked into the cinemas without any expectations. And I loved it. All caps.
Wow.
I loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah, Tom Holland did a wonderful job capturing Nathan's cheeky personality. With that, I was so immersed into his character that I even forgot that he was the Spider-Man. They did say the Spider-Man, which I think is fun. Anyway,
I like that.
Not to forget Sully. I was quite let down when he came on without a mustache. But come on, who's Sully without his mustache, right? But damn, I love him. Top it off with both Nate and Sully's amazing chemistry. The scenes between them are full of fun and humor. Love Tom and Mark together. The cinematics were amazing and well done to the costume designers who marvelously captured the essence of Nate's and Sully's outfits. I will just say, though, they're not the hardest looks in the world to capture.
I mean, yeah, I was like, their outfits. You mean like khakis? All right,
yeah. I mean, like he wears like kind of a tight long sleeve shirt with a shoulder holster and khakis. Like, okay, they do make a deal when he puts the shoulder holster on. It is like, huh? That's Nathan Drake.
Lost on me, but for the fans of the game,
the movie kind of stops.
Oh my God!
Though. But
it happened. It happened.
You do get that moment where the movie almost kind of stops to be like, he put it on. He looks like the character in the game now. You know. Anyway, that's his costume. Anyway, sorry. All the cast are amazing, which is not what I expected, and even the legend Nolan North made a funny guest appearance there. Once again, that's to your speaking to the thing.
Yeah, again, this person's a real fan.
To sum it up, if you're a fan of the Uncharted video game series or even an adventure seeker, definitely watch it. You'll want to check it out for a second time, too. As a matter of fact, I'll be watching it for a second time next week. Can't wait for Uncharted 2 with Sam in it and his prison break. 10 out of 10 stars. Because, yes, of course, there are two mid-credit scenes here. One does set up that Sam Drake is still alive and in a prison, and the other one sets up the plot of what is the second game, and brings back fan favorite Mr. Whiskers.
Oh, thank God.
Who is not from the games. It's just a creation of the movie because it's funny to have Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, that's not in the games?
No, that's a thing in the movie. I never go in with that, Mr. Whiskers.
I liked it where he goes, oh, man, you got to look in on my cat.
Mm-hmm.
How's my cat doing?
I do like the thing about once again, the funny stuff is funny. The whole thing about like, I'm just really worried about my cat because the man from the app said he was going to text me back that he fed him, but he hasn't texted me back. And you've got Holland being like, the man from the app?
Yeah.
Yeah, the man from the app. Good. You know? Once again, it's funny because it's not
their interplay is the best thing. All right, now you're going to read a low, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, well, of course it is called highs and lows.
All right, let's see.
All right, here we go. This comes from Chivas.
Mm-hmm.
My best guess, which is titled "Let's Play a Game." Ask yourself, can it get any worse? That's the title.
Oh.
Every minute you will be proven wrong. It can and will get worse. The entire movie is like Indiana Jones and Spider-Man had a baby who should have been dropped off at the fire station because the screenwriters had no business trying to raise a child.
Wow.
The producers approached Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, and Antonio Banderas and said, okay, so there's this Indiana Jones knockoff we want to do. We'll pay you a massive amount of money. Want to read the script? Everyone said, nah. And that, smart reader, is what started this cluster of a movie. I think they mean clusterfuck, but they just say cluster. Anyway, the cliches are thicker than Beyonce after a trip to Baskin-Robbins.
Wow.
Beyonce catching strays. I don't even know what that has to do with anything. We get shamelessly shirtless Tom Holland doing pull-ups the entire movie for the creepo Karens who had their fix lusting over him. Breathy Antonio Banderas pretty much carries the movie until he read the rest of the script and realized he had to bail halfway through. That is how movies work. Of course, you were constantly given a choice after every scene to leave the movie or not.
Wait, I didn't read the last 20 pages. I'm out of here.
Sorry, just kill me off or something. Anyway, they even gave Mark Wahlberg his classic wife beater shirt. You can't make this up, but the screenwriters somehow did. Most likely under the influence of absinthe. But wait, there's more. You have the angry black girl from Black Panther, Tati someone or other, who has as much acting diversity as a loaf of bread. She couldn't even throw a punch if her pixie dust arms depended on it. And yet there she is, holding on to the back of a jetliner, cruising at 10,000 feet. I am not joking. Or beating up an NFL-sized bodyguard with karate moves she learned from SpongeBob. I'm assuming this tone. I played the original Uncharted games. Yes, this is based off a video game. And had the screenwriters chosen Minesweepers, their game of choice, to base their movie off of, they would have been more successful. My 7-year-old daughter's watching a children's show next to me, and let me save you 2 hours and just watch Bluey. 1 out of 10 stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's dumb.
That's pretty extreme.
I mean, I didn't think this thing was a great film, but holy hell, that guy.
But once again, it's always the thing about, like, this lack of profession. Like, this is polished and clearly made by people who cared and have skill, whether how successful it was. But the idea that, like, there's always this assumption, it's like, I didn't like a thing, therefore the people involved must have been just shitting it out. You're like,
I know.
But
I mean, that's an easy assumption to come to.
It is.
But I got to say, nothing at this level of just resources and level of involvement by very talented people. This was not shit out.
No,
it just wasn't.
No, and that's the thing about it. Your personal enjoyment of this is a big thing. Let me get on my soapbox for just a second. Hold on, I have to have it wheeled in here.
Be careful, because you haven't been on there in a while, and you've been eating a lot.
It's true.
So watch out.
Much like Beyonce taking a trip to Baskin Robbins. Why? Why? She has nothing to do with this movie.
That reviewer was like every other line trying to find some a simile, and it was like, I'm gonna work in another dig at somebody.
Yeah, that's like that. God, it is that thing about like film critics where it's just like, oh, you also have to be super clever while bagging on the movie.
Action moves taken out of SpongeBob. You're like, wow, that's great.
But I'm also like, what does that mean? I mean, I kind of know, but what? Anyway, but my point is just always there's this a big problem I feel like in criticism now is opinion versus like objective quality, and they're merging together. I didn't like a thing, therefore it is a badly made thing. You cannot like anything. That's fine. But the idea is like, and so subsequently, this thing is objectively bad. That's a thing that irks me.
Yeah. As well it should.
Yeah, it's just like, that's just not true. Because trust us, and once again plug our other podcast, Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters, we know from bad movies. We've seen bad movies.
Yes.
And yeah, I also believe it is very rare to see anything come out of a major studio that is bad in that way. Like incompetent, I guess is what I'm saying. Not even bad per se.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, they're embarrassing films released by studios all the time, but yeah, nothing like that.
Yeah, that's just it. So anyway, all right. So Uncharted, a moderately successful adaptation. I think we can. agree.
You could do worse and watch this.
Oh, you absolutely could do worse.
The Saturday morning movie or the Hangover movie. It's a good call.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the words of the We Hate Movies guys, total hangover movie. There's a reason I've watched this a few times is because it is just like, oh yeah, and then this is a total movie you can watch and go like, oh, it's the scene where he hangs off the plane. Oh, I'll put my phone down and watch this. This is pretty good, you know. So yeah, I don't think we're that far apart on it. I get a kick out of it maybe more than you do. But next week on the show, speaking of Sonic. It's Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is next week on the show.
Oh, I won't be here for that. Oh.
The Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that introduces Tails and Knuckles into the franchise, which I don't know if that means anything to you, Brendan.
No, I know that isn't Idris Elba Knuckles?
Idris Elba's Knuckles, the echidna, who is the tough warrior guy who talks like this and is very serious at all times.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his thing.
Well, enjoy that.
Yeah, Sonic 2. But of course, if you want more from us, including more content with Brendan, you can head over to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/punchup-ent. That's punchup-ent. Like I said, you get cool exclusive bonus content, including several of our horror miniseries we've done over there with Brendan and the aforementioned Robin Jones. Who I don't think is he a gamer of any sort? Because I didn't have him on any episodes this season. Because I don't think I don't think he's ever stated anything about video games.
I'm not sure he has ever played a video game.
Yeah, because that's the thing.
Outside of arcades.
I would have had him on
in
if
the
there was
80s.
anything I thought he cared about, really.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that's a safe bet. Unless no, that's not true. Obviously, as a father, he and Nelly did play
Yes.
lots of games together. A lot of Lego games, including anything
Yeah.
comic related.
Of course.
So he's played all the Marvel Lego games.
I've played those
and that
too.
kind of stuff.
I can enjoy the Lego games.
All right.
And speaking of Lego Indiana Jones, I played, which was very fun.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, head over there. Also, make sure to check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@punchupentertainment. Make sure you click like and you comment and you ring the bell for notifications. Subscribe to our channel. All that good stuff. Never miss an episode. Gorgoni normally does that, so I struggle through the YouTube pitch.
Oh no, that's good. You rocked it.
And of course, you can hear also. We'll throw a plug for you. You can hear Brendan over on the Prodigious Saps podcast and YouTube show.
Thanks for the shout out.
And you guys
go listen to us talk about Superman for 80 hours.
It's predominantly Superman related, but pop culture in general.
Not on purpose, but that is a core love of both of ours. So we return to Soups a lot.
So head over and check that out as well. But I think that's going to do it for this week. Until next time, the case file is closed.